feel like I'm in 2016, 2017 again, because I'm standing up. We're doing something different today. Bibliophiles of the internet, today I thought I'd bring you a super casual edition of the BookTube birthday tag. For those of you who don't know, I recently celebrated a milestone BookTube anniversary on November 22nd. On the actual day, I did share a really fun reading experiment vlog where I reread a couple of my favorite books back from when I first started making videos in 2013 and sharing what I think of those books now. So I thought that was a great way to celebrate, but I also wanted to do a little bit of reflecting, and I think this tag offers a great opportunity to do that. And just because I can, and because I need to, as I answer these questions, I'm also going to be dusting my bookshelves. Do I have a plan for how this is going to work? No. Could it be an absolute unwatchable mess? Yes, it could. Is that going to stop me? No. If there's one thing you need to know about me, it's that I commit to the bit. I will link the original creator and include all of the questions down below if you want to follow along or do this tag yourself in the future, so let's just get into it. Number 1, how many years on BookTube are you celebrating? I am celebrating 10 years on BookTube. Thank you so much for asking. That's an entire decade of making long-form book-related videos, which is wild. I intend to be here for as long as I possibly can because I just love creating in this space. So if I don't get the chance to say it later, thank you for allowing me to do that. I could not do this if people didn't watch or engage. Number 2, what has kept you motivated to continue making videos? I honestly don't know if I would describe myself as the most motivated content creator. There have definitely been times when I have doubted myself, when I very nearly have not posted something because I wasn't 100% happy with it. It's hard to stay motivated, and I know it's easy to glorify things like your own labor in retrospect, but I really just want to say that making videos is really fucking hard. Coming up with a concept to film week in and week out and executing that concept on a weekly basis is really fucking hard. So I think in a logistics sense, the first thing that's kept me motivated is being realistic and understanding my limits as a creator. A lot of creators out there can pop out 2, 3, 4 videos a week, uncaptioned for the most part, mind you, and I know that I can't do that. I know my schedule outside of this. I know how much work I put into my videos, as simple as they might seem, and I know that putting out 1 video a week with very few exceptions is much more feasible for me. And I think very purposefully limiting myself like that is what has allowed me to, for the most part, avoid burnout throughout this entire process. That means I know I'm not the algorithm's biggest fan. I know people who put out more content get rewarded with more views, more likes, more subscribers, and all that stuff. But none of those things are as important to me as putting out videos that I'm proud of and that are true to myself and the vision I have for this space. That leads me to my second answer about how I stay motivated, which is that I have a clear understanding of my mission statement as a channel, and everything I do, everything I make, revolves around that mission statement. I've always said that I make book-related videos because I want to help people connect with the stories that matter to them, the stories that are going to change their lives, the stories that are going to mean something to them, especially for queer, BIPOC, disabled, neurodivergent, and otherwise marginalized readers who ostensibly find it so much harder to see their lives and their experiences honored in stories. I know I've been on this shelf for a while, but I got things to say. That is why I do what I do. I'm not on here to make the most trendy content. I'm not on here to provide book community discourse. There's so many people who do that beautifully and eloquently and thoughtfully. I'm not here just to document which books I like and which books I don't like. I am very intentionally trying to create pathways for people to connect with stories, which is why I focus so much on wrap-ups, reviews, recommendation videos, reading lists, all of those things. Of course, I'm always looking for new and interesting ways to share that kind of content just because I've read so many books in my lifetime and I'm discovering so many incredible stories all the time. So I know the content I make has the potential to be a really great resource for readers, teachers, librarians, booksellers, nonprofit workers. People can further the reach of these stories to the people who need them most. That is my focus. Number 3, what are 3 of your favorite videos you've made in the past year and why? First, I would have to say my best books of 2022 video, which I always put out after the year has concluded. I always put a lot of time and heart and thought into those videos, and this year I experimented with some animated graphics as well, so I'm really proud of how that turned out. I also had a lot of fun doing my indie romance roulette video, where I basically took a random word generator, possibly an adjective generator, and recommended indie romance books based off that one-word prompt. Like I said, I'm always looking for new ways to recommend books, especially ways that I can delve into my bookish knowledge and share about stories that might be lesser known. So I think it'd be fun to do another video like that with another category or topic. Most recently, I had a great time putting together this 2-part mini-series about queer horror books, but I want to focus on the first one where I talked about every queer, horror, paranormal, or dark fiction book I've ever read. Even though it was a lot of work to go back in the archives and research every book I've read within a certain genre or subgenre, I would love to do more inventory type videos like that. Again, because I think it's a great chance to talk about older or lesser known stories. Number 4, what have you struggled with on BookTube in the past year and how did you overcome that struggle? I think purely in terms of logistics, it would have to be consistency, but only because, if you'll recall, I had to take a 2.5-month medical hiatus. So for perfectly valid and legitimate reasons, I could not post any videos or long form content for I think like 13 weeks. I don't know if I'd call it a struggle because it's not like I was sitting at home recovering and just stressing about how I couldn't post anything. I was obviously resting and focusing all of my energy on the recovery process, but it was still a setback. And I would say how I overcame that was because of all of you, because you were gracious enough to give me that space, because you were supportive and continued to support me when I came back the same way as if I'd never left in the first place. Number 5, choose one moment from the past year on BookTube that you would love to relive. There's so many good things from this past year, way more than I can think of off the top of my head. There's been 2 rounds of the Queer Lit Readathon that have happened since this time last year. Those are always really fun to do. I had the honor of hosting a panel for QPOC Fest, which was a really great time. Would absolutely host another panel for them again. Most recently though, my mind goes to the Dia de Muertos charity D&D event that I did with Johnny Gazavia, Sonora Reyes, Aiden Thomas, and 2 Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence from one of their Texas chapters. It was so much fun to watch them play that campaign and also raise money for a great queer cause in the process. It just turned out to be like a beautiful marriage of all the things I care about the most. Number 6, shout out a huge supporter of your channel. The angle was getting too low on that other shelf, so I decided to move to the middle over here, and I'll pick up over there when I'm done. This question is so hard for me because I don't value anyone's support over anyone else's. Every time you watch and share my videos, every time you engage, every time you leave a comment, it matters, and it means so much more than you will ever know. But I would like to say thank you out loud to my patrons. They're always supportive when I put up my video previews. They always make my monthly Patreon picks some of the best parts of my TBR, and it's literally because of their support that I've been able to make certain kinds of content. I've said it before, but because of my patrons, I'm able to keep this space ad-free, which is incredibly important to me. When I make more free-form content like vlogs, I can hire someone to transcribe them for me so I can make captions from the transcriptions. So I do want to say a huge thank you to them for literally shaping the content that I make. And I'm absolutely not saying that you need to support me on Patreon for me to appreciate you. That is not the case. To be perfectly clear, I would still be doing all the things I just said. I would still be doing all the things I do now without any kind of financial offset. But my patrons do make it easier for me to do those things, which is highly appreciated and very deeply felt. Number 7, what is the best book you've read this past year? This feels like a trap. And I hate this question on principle. And having to choose just one makes me not want to be here. So after I put this shelf back together, I'm gonna cheat and mention a handful because it's my BookTube birthday and I can do whatever I want. I keep saying this, but the first book I read this year was an absolute masterpiece and it has not left me for a single day. And that book is Alexander Hamon's The World and All That It Holds. It's such a beautiful, heart-rending piece of queer historical fiction that shows a distinctly non-Western point of view on the First World War from the perspective of refugees. If any of that sounds even remotely interesting, please pick this up. This Thing Between Us by Gus Moreno was another masterclass in its genre. It is absolutely mind-bending Latina cosmic horror that caused me to question everything in life. No Gods, No Monsters by Cadwell Turnbull is an extraordinary piece of SFF fiction. Like I said in my recent end of the year book tag, if you like N.K. Jemisin, you should be reading these books. I don't have it in this room, but Hijab Butch Blues by Lamia H. is a phenomenal memoir that completely reframes the concept of queer religious trauma by taking stories from the Quran and recontextualizing them in order to celebrate the innate holiness of queerness. Our Hideous Progeny by C.E. McGill, which I don't own a copy of yet, has unconsciously become my metric for quantifying the quality of queer sci-fi. It is very much the blueprint. He Who Drowned the World by Shelley Parker Chan, one of the best sequels to one of the best duologies in existence. We Could Be So Good by Cat Sebastian. No other book even comes remotely close when I think about the reading experience this year that's been the most unabashedly joyous. I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast Is Me by Jameson Shea, The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez, Monstrillo by Gerardo Samano Cordova all have rewired my brain in the best possible way. And now I'm gonna stop, because that's only scratching the surface. Number 8, where do you see your channel in a year's time and what do you hope to have achieved? Most importantly, I see my channel as still being here, still being active, still putting out new videos. Like I said, I have no intention of stopping anytime soon. As long as I can do this, I will do this. Personally, I don't have any milestones or goals that I would like to achieve. You know, having a certain subscriber count, for example, has never been my focus. It might sound strange to say, but channel growth has never been my main priority. If it happens, great. I love expanding my community and connecting with even more people, talking with more people about books. But for me, that's not my goal. That's not my purpose. That's a pleasant side effect of doing this work. Not prioritizing channel growth or view count may seem antithetical to other people in the bookish community who think that's what we're supposed to be doing in this space. And if that's you, I'm happy for you. Get those views, get that subscriber count, get that engagement, get those sponsorships, get that money. I support all of those endeavors if that's the route you've chosen for yourself. But I don't think it has to be everyone's path, and it's certainly not my path. Especially as a queer and trans person of color, I don't want to be put under a microscope, quite frankly. But again, I know who I am. I know what kind of content I want to make. I know my mission statement, and I hold it close every single day that I do this work. If milestones and accolades and growth comes with that, then I welcome it. But it's not something I actively seek. And finally, number 9, which I'm having to record as a voiceover because I didn't say it out loud at any point for some reason, tag someone whose anniversary is coming up. I believe this is the final question, so I paused my work. I brought the camera back up so we can finish out this video like adults. I don't know whose anniversary is coming up. Quite honestly, I've been hit or miss on getting the date right for my own anniversary in the past. I figured it out now, don't worry. My point is, if I don't remember my own, I certainly don't remember yours. Whether you have an anniversary coming up or not, if you're also on BookTube, I would love to hear any of your responses to these questions down below in the comments. I said it in my recent reading vlog, but thank you for 10 years. Thank you for being a part of my community. Thank you for caring when I talk about books. Thank you for all the ways you support my channel in whatever capacity or form that takes. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that you're here, and I look forward to continuing this work. That is everything for today's chaotic video. I'm gonna put an audiobook on and finish dusting these shelves. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, educate yourself, be kind to yourself, take care of yourself, and I will catch you on the flip side of the page.